Hello, welcome to a game that can seem very complex, but actually it's very easy to learn and to understand it if you just take it step by step. Now, because of this, I'll not detail everything and I'll skip a lot of things and a lot of information, and I'll just give you the short version of everything I can. Also, I don't really have a lot of time to make edited videos, so yeah, because I'm playing the game, this will not be a very spectacular edited video, it will just be what you see is what you get. Now, before I start the number 10 tips, just want to say that before you start playing the game, you have to consider one very important thing. Now, you want to play on Classic or on Explorer. The game itself is not very long, so if you want to make, I don't know, the best experience for yourself that you can make, I recommend you play on Classic, because on Classic you'll be playing for a little longer, but also the game will make more sense because there are areas you're not supposed to be in, and if you kill some enemies there, you might think, whoa, I have to be here. No. You have to follow kind of like the progression set out by the game, because that's the normal and natural way to progress, and you'll also learn the game much better. So the game is about 20 hours, can be more or less, depends on how much you want to explore, but if you just play on Explorer, the game will be too easy, it will be over too fast, and you'll not really understand a lot of things, because you can finish the game very fast without even using half of the mechanics of the game. So please consider playing on Classic if you like the concept of the game. Now let's get started. I have been playing for quite a bit right now, and as you can see I'm playing on the Classic difficulty. I also died a lot of times, and there are a few things I might not enjoy as much. So game mode Iron Man. If you die you don't lose much but a few seconds, usually you lose about 10 to 20 to 30 seconds max, so play on Iron Man as well. Because if you die you just get a chance to reload your game from 10, 20, 30 seconds ago, so it will actually be a lot less of a hassle if you play on Classic Iron Man mode, which is great. Now let's start with the tips. Tip number 1. Now I recommend you plan how much you want to play the game, and I recommend you kind of view the game as a puzzle, because you'll be going to certain locations a few times. So you'll start over here at the woodcutter, and then you'll be going over here, and then you can actually go straight into the pit. You don't need to come over here to the Remnant camp, because that's a bit of a waste of time in my opinion. Go to the pit, do everything you can there, obtain the vouchers needed, meaning people who say you can enter the Remnant camp and so on. Get all of the items you can, get all of the skills you can, and then go over here to the Remnant camp, where you will need to buy a lot of things and also do a lot of things as well. And then you can decide if you want to join Neyreyan or the Remnant camp. Obviously, if you just go to the woodcutter, complete the basic quests in the pit, not all of the things you can do, and then come back over here, you'll finish the game much faster, because once you join a main faction, that's Act 1, and the game has a few acts that will be over very fast. So try to plan a little bit of what you want to do, and I recommend you exploring the beginning of the game, because later on you'll not really have a lot of time for exploration with the quest, kind of taking the majority of your time, and you also get much better gear. So it's kind of like a dice roll. I insist on these two aspects of the game, the difficulty and planning ahead, because there's no timed quests. Everything is based on the act. So in the first act you can do whatever you like until you join a faction. When you join a faction, some things will change, and you might actually fail some quests because the act changed. So yeah, woodcutter, explore a little bit here and there, but mostly you'll explore this area over here, and then you'll go to the pit, do everything you can over there, and then over here in the Remnant camp do everything you can over there, then the tavern over here, this is actually a very nice place, and then go to Neyreyan and do everything here. You have quite a few farms over here and some other things to explore, so try to maximize your experience. If you want the short version, yeah, just beeline and finish the game on Explorer. If you want the big adventure, explore slower and also explore the adjacent areas. The game is not as big as it looks on the map, so be careful with this one. Now, okay, tip number 2, which is actually the one that you are probably going to be interested. Now, tip number 2, money is hard to get. Only sell junk items to a vendor, and never buy the weapons or the armors, because you'll get a lot of them. You can get a lot of weapons or armor just by exploration or by doing quests. Armor is actually a little harder, but you can go over here in the tavern, do a quest to find a ship, and then you get an armor that costs 500 or 600 gold, 600 coins over here. So yeah, be careful with that. Now, you can buy some weapons here and there just to speed up the grind, but usually you'll find a lot of weapons just lying on the ground. Depends on your open choices and some other things. But as you can see, a new weapon that is actually very good will cost so much. Money is very hard to get by, and you want to use your money to buy crafting recipes for rings, for food, for potions, for, you know, a lot of other things that we'll speak about a bit later. So yeah, sell junk items. If it's like this, you can sell them, no problem. And also be careful that you don't sell things you'll buy. On the other hand, you can just also sell the sling stones, which actually have some value. I mean, you're basically selling stones. You can also sell all of the weapons, but they're not counted as junk. So if you don't need them, sell them. You can also sell some of the resources you have. For example, the diamonds, which is a crafting material that you'll need later. You can also sell the lump of silver, iron, some of the plants like the mushrooms and some of the other stuff, but you probably want to keep the stuff you can craft for later. And also, for example, the grenade roots, yeah, you can sell. It's actually material you get from an enemy. So kind of make a distinction what you can sell and try to explore more so you get your weapons without buying anything. But if you want to speed up the grind, definitely buy something. Tip number 3. Now, the best non-combat skills are also the skills that help you make a lot of money. Once you mouse over them, you'll see who gives you the skill or who teaches you. Now, prospecting 1, 2, and 3 actually learn in the pit. Now, I don't think there's any point in showing you everything, but just ask everyone to tell you what they know about prospecting, and you should be able to get prospecting tier 3 at least. And then you have also a chance of getting more gems or more gems from the stuff you mine. So it's very important to get this up to 3 at least in the mine, in the pit. Over here you have the gut animal and the skinned animal. Now, Neyreyan is actually a hunter you have to rescue in the woodcutter camp, and it should be somewhere over here, but I learned the skill from here. Babsy, I don't remember the exact location, but it might be here or here. Definitely not here, the skull. Might be here or here. And this NPC will teach you how to gut animals and how to take their ichor. The ichor is basically the glands, if you want to think of it like that, extract ichor. Gut animals. Teeth and claws, especially. Now, keep in mind that this is a game where if you kill something, it stays dead forever. So you can go back and loot all of the stuff you didn't loot. So it's safe to kill everything, because if you kill a bird now, you go into, after 5 hours you go and take the skill, you can still go to that bird and claim the teeth or the claws to it. So yeah, it works retroactively as well, which is great because you'll have a lot of rats to get the claws from. Skin animals, same, more or less the same thing, but there are not that many animals you can skin. Ichor, for example, is from mosquitoes or some other creatures, which will be a little more important later, but not too many in the beginning. And P-complex locks. Now, this teacher is Bardock. I'm not sure if there's another one, but as you can see in the Remnant camp, you'll have a lot of things to do over here. But to gain access to the upper quarter, you need to go to the mine, the pit. And then you'll be able to come over here. He'll teach you actually a lot of things, not just related to the pig locking. Okay, next one. Now, let me read my list. Now for the best weapon, I will make a separate video, tip number 4, the best weapons I'll make a separate video, but I recommend the axe, because it's kind of like your best maintained weapon and the best reach and the best damage and the best everything. So, as you can see, it's a lot of reach and you can also kind of hit everything in an angle. It has also a pretty good combo, that's the free combo. The other stuff is just has, I don't know, has a problem here or there. For example, if you play with the sword, it has a very short reach and it's kind of like a forward weapon, and as you can see you lose a lot of your potency with it. You get a cool launch, but that's only if you don't use a secondary thing, a shield or a slingshot. The spears are not bad either, because you can do like this spear thrust over here. Also this one over here, which is very good for hitting him in a straight line, but it suffers from very low damage in the beginning of the game. Later on you'll be able to get much better spears, but the damage is not really going to be that good. And a lot of enemies will actually actively circle you or go around you a lot of the times. So yeah. Not much to say about the bow, it works as intended. The slingshot also has a cooldown, which is one of the reasons I don't really like to use it. So let's sort on the slingshot. As you can see, that means it's on cooldown. and then you play with whatever weapon you have. Someone is hard, feeling there very hard. Wow, okay, that takes a while. And at some point it will refill. It doesn't take that long. I think you have to hit enemies to refill it. So, as you can see, it's kind of like a bad deal, but I'll definitely have to make a separate video where I show all of the weapons and the other stuff. Also, keep in mind that you can sell all of the arrows and all of the stones to the merchant. So that's why I don't recommend you use the sling or the bow, because it's a lot of money you're throwing out the window. Plus, for range options, you can also use the daggers and some of the other stuff you can craft. Throw balls. So it's not like you are out of ranged options, you're just not going to use the stuff that can give you a lot of money. Plus, it will be much faster to just use the axe, especially when you're fighting a lot of weaker enemies, and also against enemies that don't really have a way to close the distance very fast. Anyway, let's go to tip number 5, the permanent bonus. Now, this is a bit of a discussion as well, because you cannot equip better items unless you have the basic prowess to a very high level. Basic prowess means everything that is permanent. So, how can you get permanent points? Permanent bonus points. Now, the obvious way is to level up and you get the learning points, or learning points and 5 health points per level up. Which is great because that will allow you to increase your basic prowess, but learning stuff means you are spending your points on something else that will not increase your prowess, because your prowess is only increased by the stats. If you increase your strength, your dexterity, or your mind. If you take skills that don't increase that, they don't increase your basic prowess. So that's why it's a bit of a problem. The other way to get a lot of stats is, of course, to craft potions. Now, there are some potions you can craft with the items that will give you an extra stat. Or if you craft the potions, it will give you 3 stats, which is kind of like why you should come over here and buy all of the potions. Now, as you can see, you can either get 1 point, or you can get 3 points. Or in case of the elixir of the life, which is 2 points, it will be 5. So this will give you a big boost in the stats as well, because it's a massive upgrade. Now, the only limiting factor will be the Mandragora, but I'll have to make a separate video for this as well, because it's a longer discussion. Now, another way to gain extra stat points is to find shrines in the world that can be activated. For example, this one, it will say in the clue. So, this is the writing on the shrine. You examine the writing and it will say something like ram. It's a big text and it will have one word. Then you put a ram in the circlet, in the cup over there, and then it will activate and give you 1 stat point for free, which is a permanent one, which is great. Then you also have the learning shrines. There are a lot of learning shrines throughout the world, 8 in total, and you can also access them in the first act, which will give you a big boost to your learning points. That will allow you to learn a lot of skills and increase your stats a lot. For example, one is over here. I don't remember where all of them are. One is definitely here. One is there. One is also here, for example. I'll have to make a video about the map as well with everything marked. So that's 4 ways to get extra points. So level up, potions, or herbs. You can also use the herbs directly because you have a limited amount of mandragoras you can get, the shrines that activate, and also the learning shrines. Tip number 6, healing. How do you heal? Well, it might seem like it's easy, but you actually have 3 ways of healing. Number 1 is direct healing with the potions, which you should only do when you're fighting very tough battles. Don't use them for exploration or anything. When you have a quest to kill someone, use the potion. Otherwise, you'll have to increase your gear or do some other stuff. So definitely your last option. Don't even equip them until you know what you're doing, because they are actually a super strong heal. Now, the other way to heal is the direct heal, which is mostly what we'll be using a lot of the times. This is where all of the recipes come in handy, because you can, for example, have a red shroom tincture or a healing ointment tincture. So what's the difference, you might ask? Well, this doesn't give you anything. This gives you 10 over 10 seconds, so this would be 40 over 10 seconds, so that's a massive boost, 40 health, healed. But also, if you gather the mushrooms, which actually do nothing on their own, you can get a 60 health over 10 seconds, so that's 6 health per second. So as you can imagine, it's much better to make this one. Then you also have the passive healing. Delicious. Which not only will give you 180 health, well, I guess it's a bit cheesy to say 160 health, because it's actually going to regenerate super slowly. But the bright side is that the bar doesn't lower unless you need the health. Keep in mind that this will also give you some other bonuses, so yeah, your food will be a very important item, so if you don't have any food equipped, you can just fry some juicy meat or some trout for the same effect, and that will give you just a lot of overtime healing. But there'll also be much better food, for example the Tia marinated meat chunk, which will give you a critical chance of few percent, which is actually pretty good compared to some other things. So yeah, this is how you mainly do healing. So when you're adventuring, you'll basically be using juicy fried meat, maybe the large healing plant, maybe you'll use a riverbed bones, depends. You'll use mostly your weaker healing, because later on you'll have access to some other stuff like the bygone healing herbs and the potions and the red shroom tincture. This is definitely something for the bosses, mostly you'll be using this or the ointment. Tip number 7, equipment. You have rings, amulets and unique items. Now, I don't want to go too deep into this because some of this will be spoiler-ish, and a lot of this you'll be able to get very easy anyway. Now, let me show what I have equipped. The flow catcher, when using a focus man ability, increase the next damage by 100%, which is kind of nice, isn't it? Then the Tinkerer's Revenge, the damage of traps and thrown objects by 100. What are those? Well, guess what? You have a bomb that deals 200 damage, so I assume this will deal 400 damage. Some of the other stuff, plus the throwing stuff, will be very, very damaging as well if you have that. Plus the cluster trap. Even some of the other stuff, so yeah, it can be very nice to have this one. I just like to have it equipped because it allows me to throw daggers and do some other stuff very fast. To be honest, I should really replace it, but I'm just keeping it over there for safekeeping so I don't forget about it. Fang Necklace, bleeds effects inflict their damage faster, which is again tied to the abilities. You have an ability that can inflict bleed, and critical hits also inflict bleed. Very importantly, we have also the Berserker ring over here. Now, this Berserker ring you can get from somewhere in the market over there, and it gives you 5 health whatever enemy you kill. If you kill a small spider, 5 health. If you kill a big spriggan, that's also 5 health. So yeah, if you kill rats or a lot of enemies, this is actually going to be very helpful to keep you just going into the battle, going and not really stopping to heal. It will also assist you with healing. I'm just showing this so you know what's coming. You also have this one, which will make your spells deal more damage. Of the Viper, the slowing of the poison increased by 20%. Talisman enhances the effect of all shots. By the way, these are just interchangeable, so you can have 3 necklaces, 4 necklaces, 4 rings, or just 2 necklaces and 2 rings. You can mix and match however you like. And also over here, Bardock is an amazing NPC. It also give you a lot of recipes for crafting. So you can craft basically a much stronger version of the ring. So you can have a ring that gives you 1 strength, and then you can upgrade it to give you 3 strength. More interesting, I think it was something base focus. There was something like Ring of the Norns, yeah, Yggdrasil ring. So I think we can find 3 rings of the Norns. The rings of the Norns are, for example, found in hollowed out trees. They're very hard to find, but you will see what they are when you see them. So 5, and probably the other one will also be 5, and then you get 20. But there are a lot of nuances to these things that you can upgrade, but for this you of course need money, you need a lot of time and just a lot of resources, and then you'll be able to have a full build. So yeah, you will need a lot of rings and a lot of necklaces for a very, very well balanced build. And crafting is super important, and it kind of ties in with this one, with the accessories. As you can see, for that you need lumps of iron. And for example, let's just say I craft 10 of these. Then 10 of these. And as you can see, we're kind of getting to the meat and potatoes of the game with much stronger items that are available to us. So you don't really have to just kill everything with your axe. You'll also have a lot of things available to you that will make your character much, much stronger. These are just some examples of the things you can get, and this will assist you in making a very good build. You can also replace all of them with health, or let's say strength. 3 strength, that means 12 extra strength, which will be a lot of damage. Anyway, you get the idea. Now, tip number 8, secrets. Oh boy, this will be a harder one to show you because I will need to go to the secrets. Secrets can be in many diverse ways in the game. You need to use your explore or your observe icon over here. Mostly secrets will be either hidden behind the flora. For example, if this is a tree, oh, see? You can see behind it. So sometimes you have to see behind the tree or something like this in order to show you something. You can also just use it around. And for example, if you see something like this, you can interact with it. And there are a lot of hatches. So this is a hatch. You probably will read the guide or something that says they found the hatch. Or like that ground over there. Actually, let me go and show you some more. Also, there can be some blocks you can push on the walls. Let's actually go a little bit to the further side, because I need to show you some of the secrets so you kind of are tuned into how they look and how they can be obtained or how they can be played. I guess it's one of the more boring aspects of the game in a way, because you need to always pay attention and always the observe button. So you can read certain text like this one over here. So yeah, observe is very important. This is also how you enter some rat holes as well, and or tight spaces. You just observe a rat hole and then you can enter it. For example, over here there was a chest, but you couldn't see it, so observe. You saw it. Over here there was another thing. You observe it. Or you just stumble into it. That's kind of like the thing you have to know about these secrets. There always will be something hidden behind the door, behind the wall. Sometimes it's on the wall itself. Let me show you that as well, because I think that will be important as well. And I also want to show you the unmarked stuff. You also have some treasure chests, which will kind of hint at that as well. And when you go to that area over there, you'll just find some ground that is out of the background, and you'll observe it and you can actually find the chest. Okay, the game is all about secrets, all about spotting things like footprints or I don't know, other stuff, paw prints, but will lead you to certain locations where you need to be very observant. For example, over here you might think, well, there is nothing over here, what can I do? Well, you can go through the back, exit through here. Again, you don't notice this unless you actually look for it. It doesn't even show when you observe it. And for example, this was a treasure chest or a sack in the ground. You had to basically do like this, or just notice the small differences in the ground quality. You can usually spot it with your naked eye, but sometimes you need to observe it to understand it very well. And this is another example. So the brick will kind of look out of position, and then when you observe it, it will actually open and you can get some treasure chest inside. So I think that's it for the secrets. You probably have seen enough. This is the shrine. You just have to interact with this thing over here and put the adequate item. See? That's how you read it. Blade. You need a blade. You need a sword. Okay, that was the easy one, right? And that's all about secrets. Now, let's go to tip number 9. Well, I guess this will be kind of like a mixed bag, because we need to go and do all of the other stuff. Okay, so it's about the crafting things you can get in the game and the lockpicking and some of the other stuff. So, picking locks is Bardock, the character we just visited. He'll also teach us, Aiden will teach us the potion craft, and also this one also by Bardock. As you can see, Bardock is one of the most important characters in the game because he teaches you a lot of things. I think you'll have other NPCs able to teach you in other areas, but it's more important that you learn them here and now. When you go to other areas, you'll be much better prepared, can do more things and kill more things. Okay, this is Aiden over here. And he also has a lot of things for you. So, crafting, potion crafting and lockpicking is kind of like in the same part of the game, if you want to think of it like that. So you can have the elixirs, which like I said, are very important, and then you also can have the traps and the throwable items and some of the other things you can get and learn. They'll also tell you if you already learned it. That's why I put them in the same category. You can also buy the simple lockpicks or just make them, because they're more or less in the same category. So Wow, that's a very energetic kitty. So this will allow you to craft dangerous traps, items, and ammunition. The better ammunition will do more damage, and I think I showed that with the balls. We have the stone ones which do nothing, the iron one which is 10 and 10 more damage, and this one is 20 damage, 5 focus, and stance damage is 20. So 20, 20, and 5 more focus points. And for the arrows, you can have the iron arrows, but that is actually a very big improvement. You also have different types of quiver which will have more arrows. Again, crafting is kind of underused in the game, but at the same time is very important. Where is that cat? I don't know, somewhere over there. Lockpicking, well, lockpicking is one of the most useful skills in the game because you can open a lot of things that will be super useful or give you new pathways and just open up the game in different ways. So don't play the game without having these talents. Craftsmanship, potions, and picking the complex locks. Now for number 10, it's actually kind of a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear it, close your ears or just pause the video, hit like, and then go away. So it's kind of related to an area that you have to find more or less, is the secret that I showed you over there. Now there's another faction in the game that is actually super important, which are called the Ruin Raiders. You can get to them through two ways. Either you go through here and the pathway that I showed you, or you can actually use the cave system under the city to go and emerge from a cave over here. I don't remember if this is the right cave, but anyway, it was a cave around here. In case you cannot enter the Remnant camp, you can go from there to here. And the Ruin Raiders are actually tied to the Endgame, because they will allow you to interact with the artifacts, more or less, of the other civilization, the ancient civilization that we are currently living in the ruins of. That's kind of sad, right? You go through there, you go through here, and then you go over here. Now, some quests will only be available in certain acts or after something happens, so I don't want to spoil too much. You can also steal them blinded. There's also something to steal for you over there. Also read the scrolls. You can do a lot of things. It's also much better to sell the artifacts to them because they'll give you a fair price. So sell bygone artifacts to them. There also are some interesting things here and there, like the bygone roast. Some traps and some things here and there. But more importantly, they are tied to the endgame, which let me show you what it is. The endgame is all about connecting the signets, which can give you the best weapons in the game. I will not tell you how many there are, but there are a few of them. And once you collect all of them, you have to come over here and they'll talk to you. But if you have just one, they'll not talk to you. And they're in a few places, and this will help you get the best weapons in the game, over 100 damage. The axe is much better than the one that I found and I cannot use. There also is an endgame armor, if I can find it, but you also need to search certain locations. Again, searching the ruins for the specific armor item, which you'll be able to use to craft an armor on the blacksmith. Oh yeah, this is the armor piece of the bygone. Also, they'll have some quests for you, and basically they'll also be kind of like a talisman quest and other quests as well. So these guys are very important, so don't underestimate their value, and kind of learn the tunnels a little bit so you know how to get there. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter what you do in the early game, in the mid game, because in the end game you have a lot of opportunities to grow much stronger and to be more powerful, and as you can see, you can manage your economy a lot better. I can sell so many things if I really wanted or needed something, but that's kind of it. So as a short recap, if you want to get the best experience for the game, play on classic Iron Man difficulty. Tip number 1 was to kind of decide what you want to do from the beginning. Do you want to explore everything? Do you want to go and join the Remnant or Nemeton? Because Remnant needs you to go into the pit first, and here do you want to explore a lot more? I recommend you explore a lot more because, like I said, you're not bound by time and the quest will not fail unless you go to another act. If you go to another act, some quests might fail. So don't join a faction very fast in the beginning because you'll probably miss out on a lot of content, and exploration is better than, like I said. Boom. Tip number 2 was about money and not selling important things, and also not buying important things and just selling the junk items. These guys will buy all of the bygone stuff. And we talked about it, so money is very important. 3, it was the best non-combat skills that are used to make money, and you should get them early on so you can get a lot of extra money. 4 was the best weapons, like I said, it's the axe, and nothing but the axe. I didn't even talk about the skills, but it's up to you, it doesn't really matter that much, because you don't have a lot of choices anyway. I like to use this one, and then there is a shout I like to use. Fervent shout, it increases battle shout. As you can see, you do more damage, but you receive more damage. You also have more movement speed. Then you have this one. You can have bonuses or just damage. It doesn't really matter because the axe will help you with all of them. The helmet is a secret. I'll mention it in another video. Not really a secret, you can find it, but it's out of the way. Then number 5 was related to the permanent stat bonuses, which are the level up points, the potions or the herbs, the shrines that you can activate, and also the learning shrines. Then number 6 was related to healing, direct healing potions through food that you can heals you over time through other healing methods. Like I said, the potions are the better ones. Equipment, I showed you some of the rings you can make, some of the rings you can get, some of the things you can have on you. And it's also very important to know that you can upgrade the basic stuff as well. Tip number 8 was the secrets, and I showed you a few of them so you know how to spot them. 9 was related to the potion making, crafting, and lockpicking, which are super important as well. And 10 was about the signets, which is the endgame weapons, armor pieces that you can get used to get an endgame armor, the ruin raiders, which will be much more important, and they're actually tied to a few quests. And in this category is also the guy you meet over here in the crossroads, which will have another big quest for you. So some quests are kind of like hidden but not really hidden.
Huh?
And to buy, for example, the best weapon in the game, it's 6,000 per weapon. That's a lot of money, 6,000. So I only have 1,000 in probably 20 hours or 30 hours of playtime. The game is only about 20 hours, more or less, depends on the difficulty and how much you want to explore. So it's definitely a unique experience, so have fun with it. Bye bye.